I'm Stacy Gordon. Welcome to That's My Jam. Today's recipe is a cake that I absolutely love to serve in the summer. Don't get me wrong, it's great any time of year, but because it's served cold, it's especially wonderful in the summer. My recommendation for this cake is to make it the day before, or at least the evening before you plan to serve it. This recipe is super quick, super easy, and super delicious. Today, we're going to make toffee chip cake. Let's get started. The first thing we'll do is preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Next step is to mix up a devil's food cake. I'm just going to go ahead and use a box mix today, my favorite, Duncan Hines, and we'll just prepare this according to the directions. Once this is done mixing, we'll set it off to the side. And we're going to be using a 13x9 pan. I'm going to be using some baking spray to lightly coat the pan. Always make sure you've got the sides, not just the bottom. We'll pour that cake mix right into our greased 13x9 pan. This cake is ready to go in the oven. The cake is done. Now on to the next step. This is a poke cake, so normally the next step would be to take a wooden spoon and poke holes throughout the cake with the end of the spoon. For some reason, my wooden spoons are all shaped like that. We're just going to go with it. I think it'll be fine. This is still hot, so I'm just going to leave it on the stove and use the edge of my spoon to start poking some holes throughout the cake. I believe I've got those pretty evenly distributed. Our next ingredient is a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, Eagle brand, or in my case, I'm using the store brand. One of the most decadent and delicious things on the planet. We're just going to pour that right over the top of the cake. Try to hit some of those pokes so we can make sure that this goes down inside the cake. Our next ingredient is a 12-ounce jar of caramel ice cream topping. Now, if you watch my channel very often, you know that I make my own homemade salted caramel sauce. In the interest of time, I'm not going to do that today, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this jar of Smucker's. Once again, we're just pouring this all over the cake. We want to get as much of it as we can down in those poke holes. Now, this is the reason that we want to make this cake the day before we plan to serve it. I'm going to take what we've got here, let it cool down to room temperature, and then when it does, I'm going to cover it with some aluminum foil and stick it in the fridge overnight. That's going to give the sweetened condensed milk and the caramel enough time to seep down inside that cake and get it oh so ooey gooey. If you're enjoying today's video, now's the perfect time to go tap the like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Our cake stayed in the refrigerator overnight. All that good goo saturated. Now we're going to use a tub of the creamy non-dairy whipped topping. We'll spread that around the top of the cake. And then I'm going to use an 8-ounce package of Heath Toffee chips. If you don't have Heath Toffee chips, available to you, you can just use 2 or 3 Heath bars or even Score bars. I usually put them in a bag and then pound them with a hammer. We want to keep this refrigerated until we're ready to cut and serve. This cake looks delicious. It's so important to let that sit overnight so that all that goo just gets down in there and saturates the cake. Guys, that's just delicious. Guys, this is one of my all-time favorite cakes. It's always a crowd pleaser, and it's perfect if you're having a family cookout or just an end of summer get together with friends. I hope you will enjoy it as much as I do. I'm going to see you again real soon. In the meantime, turn off the TV, turn on some music, and just keep jamming.